But the problem of initial application is when you can't get what you want, then there is a lot of suffering. When you direct your mind, you want this, you want that, you want to hear praises, you don't get praises, you only get scolding, you only get people who say bad things about you, you want to see pleasant things, you see all unpleasant things. Only when you direct your mind and you can't find pleasant object, there's way suffering arises. Because of this craving, direction of mind to search for present object, but there is no present object, you don't get what you want, then suffering arises. And the intensity of the suffering depends on the intensity of your craving. How strong your attachment. The stronger the attachment, the Buddha says, the greater the pain. Do you think so? Do you think so? Do you think it's the truth? That you want something very badly and you can't get it. And there's a lot of pain, a lot of mental suffering. Because you're not watching your mind. Because you're not mindful. Because you don't understand what is inside here, which is the cause, which is the starting point of your suffering. So you must understand the mind. And in the teaching of Abhidhamma, abstract Buddhism, explain everything about the mind. The theory is the beginning part of your wisdom, which I talked about in previous lesson. The level of wisdom, the wisdom of listening, of learning, that is important. That is the basic beginning part. The wisdom of analysis, that then you need to analyze it. Is it so? Is it true? Put into practice. Look into your mind and see whether it works or not. Is it really initial application? Do my mind always looking for pleasure? Through my seeing, through my hearing, smelling and tasting? Is it so? Through the practice, then arises the wisdom. Then you say, wow, it is so lah. What I listen, it is true lah. Because I look into my mind and there it is lah. My mind is always initial application, always directing towards the thing I want. Through the practice, then you got the wisdom of how to manage your mind. That we call the inner wisdom. That is the important thing. Once you learn, you have the inner wisdom of how to handle your mind, then you lead a relatively peaceful, happy life. Even though the external world, sometimes, external world is very hard on us, but it does not affect our mind soul because our inner world is strong. We have a very strong inner world. It's a defense against the outside world. We could understand all these factors that arises. We could protect the mind. Initial application, sustaining application, then the joy arises, so we get a lot of worldly joy. Not the spiritual joy, but a lot of worldly joy. And the worldly joy is the motivating factors for us to do a lot of things, to chase after wonderful things, the pleasant things, to accumulate. It is the thinking of how happy I will be if I have $1 million in the bank. So you keep working very hard to accumulate the $1 million because you just imagine how happy you're going to be if you have $1 million in the bank. And when you have already tasted the joy, then you say, I like that joy again. I like to taste it one more time. And that becomes a motivating factor for the initial application to repeat the same process by way of seeing, smelling, tasting, touching. That's how the mind works. Joy becomes motivating factor. We are motivated by joy, happiness. Don't you think so? We chase after happiness all the time. Only thing is we don't understand what happiness really is. Whenever you catch it, it disappears. The moment you say, I got it, it's no longer there. The nature of the mind constantly changing, object constantly changing. The moment you hold it, it changes. The moment the mind wants it, but when the mind got it, the mind wants other thing. Because when you already got what you want, you don't need to want it anymore. You want something else. You want a bicycle. Once you get a bicycle, now you say you want a motorbike. Once you have a motorbike, you say I want a car. Once you have a car, you say I want a house. It's more important than a car. And when you got a house, you say, well, I want to settle down. I want to go look for a partner. Once you got a partner, I want children. Because I'll be lonely without children in old age. The mind goes on and on and on and on. And you're always grasping at something that is not there. End of the day, you ask the question, what is happiness? The end of the day, when I ask you this question, are you happy? Are you really, really happy? What would you say? How many of you are really happy? Really, really happy? Then you're fantastic, then you're wonderful, then you understand your mind, then you know how to deal with your mind. It is not so if you don't understand your mind. You can't be really, really happy if you cling to the external world. If you try to cling on to external world for happiness, because it's always constantly changing. It is not there whenever you hold it. And so is the mind. So you should know that it is happiness are temporary. Is it wrong to hold on to them? It's not wrong, but you must not hold them too tight. If you hold them too tight, when they are not there, then you're going to suffer in pain. Great pain, because the stronger, the greater you hold, the stronger is the pain. So you must know the nature, internally, externally, objects, senses, and the mind, how they works, how object works, how senses work, how mind works. Externally is the object. Internally, you must understand the craving of the mind. You must understand the hatred of the mind. When the mind takes roots in anger, in frustration, because you can't have what you want, then it directs the mind towards the object, and it hates all the object. Even you see beautiful thing, it's no longer beautiful, it turns ugly. When you hear nice words, it becomes ugly words. When people say, how are you? Good morning. Don't say bad morning. The mind don't hear it as good morning. The mind says bad morning. People say, hey, you look nice. You jealous lah. The mind will say, oh, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. You're so kind. No, my things otherwise. My things, something else. Why? Directed because anchor in hatred, and the mind looks for trouble. That's why we say, a troubled mind looks for trouble. Don't you think that the mind is in trouble? Everything is trouble. Because he looks for trouble, because his initial application, vitaka, vichara, is sustained. Mind goes round and round thinking all bad things, even if it is good things. It turns into bad things. What we see is the reflection of what we think. The inner world reflects outside world. Once we have a lot of kindness in our mind, we see everybody as a good person. If we have a lot of ill will in our mind, we look at everybody as crooks, waiting to put their hand into your pocket. You look at them all as crooks. You say, these people are all crooks. You have to be careful of them. Don't trust any one of them because the roots. And people who are ignorant see things blindly, don't see the truth. They see everything upside down. When the mind applies externally towards the object, they always see upside down. They never see the truth. They always see what is untruth. Buddha says, when the mind sees the untruth as the truth, and the truth as the untruth, what happens? They fall into suffering. They go round of samsara, birth and death, because they don't see the truth. They see truth as untruth, and they see untruth as truth, because they are directed by moha citta, ignorant mind, direction. In meditation, we direct our mind towards wholesomeness. What is wholesomeness? Dana, Sila, Samadhi, Panya. That's the Buddhist teaching. By trying to help people, doing charity, giving services. Dana. You have no money, no excuse. You help by services. You say, I got no money to give. Then can you give services? Dana, Sila. Can you keep your precept? You have no money to give. Can you keep your precept? No need money one. Try not to kill. Right now. Save life. Sometimes it's very hard to do. In my place there are a lot of rats and it's quite hard to catch them because rats are very smart, very clever, and caught them and took them far away where there's no houses around. And I say, I save your life, I let you go. It's a hard thing to do, but don't come back to my same house again. Don't come back to my house again. I take all this effort to bring you so far away. Don't recognize my house. Don't come back. But I save your life this time. If you go to other houses, they may not save your life. It's not easy to do. It's so difficult to do. Yeah. But you don't have to spend 1 cent. You save life. You let it go. But don't say that to anybody. People get angry at you. So they say, hey, my house got rats. I don't know, Brother James put it in my house. Put it in my garden. These are things that shouldn't be said. People will throw stone at you. You see you letting go rats. But there's no choice. You can't kill them. What do? You can't kill them. Just can't kill them. So, take precepts. Not stealing. Of course, it's easy to do. It's easy to do. I'm so old, I don't need to steal anymore. Not to say I steal when I'm young. No, I don't steal when I'm young. And there's no reason to steal when I'm old. Very soon I'll be 6 feet underground, so I can't take all the money with me. So why should I steal? There's no reason to steal. What does not belong to me? No reason. The reason for me is to do dana, is to try to share a bit what I have. Because I'm going to die soon. I can't take the money with me. So the only thing, you can take it with you only when you give it away. When you do charity, when you share, when you give it away. Then you do good karma. That you can take it away. But not the dollar. You can't take all the dollar with you. With the king's head there, you can't take it with you. So it's quite easy. Some precepts are quite easy to take. Individually, and I don't say everybody. Lying, of course, if you're a salesman, quite difficult. I'm not a salesman, so quite easy and pretty strong at that. Sexual misconduct, I'm pretty strong at that. Intoxication, I don't drink, so I'm pretty strong at that. So out of 5, well, I'm pretty strong at that. So that brings a lot of happiness when I consider the precepts. Do I have precepts at night when I sleep? Do I have precepts? Yes, I have. When I wake up in the morning, am I going to keep my precept? Yes, I think I'll keep my precept. I'm happy with that. And I bring out my faith in what the Buddha said. Silena sukati hontu. Precepts brings happiness. Precepts takes one to heavenly door. It gives me joy when I consider that. Say, surely I won't go down hell. I got precepts one. That's what the Buddha says. Buddha say, The Buddha said, I never lie. I can never lie. The Buddha cannot lie. Even if he want to lie, he cannot lie. The Buddha told the monk, every word I say is the truth because I cannot lie. Buddha cannot lie. So I use that. So I hold that, what the Buddha say. Buddha say, don't lie, don't lie to me. He said, precept important, keeping it. So it makes me happy when I reflect on it every morning and every night. Vitakka. So when the mind directed to sila. That's important. Only when the mind directed to sila do you hold on to the sila. Then vichara holds on to the sila. Okay, I'll hold on to the sila as much as I can. If you can't hold on to 5, can you hold on to 4? Can you hold on to 3? At least 3 out of 5 is not bad. You still pass your exam. Not bad, But if you have kosong, very dangerous. Because your kosong empty, then you rely on your dana, your giving to bring you up to the heavenly world. And do you give a lot? If you don't give a lot, very sad case. And then you're very uncertain when you're going to die, right or not? Because you don't do so much good. So at least, to keep precept, and you're very certain you won't fall.